Greetings everyone. Welcome back to Storytime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the films from 2022, The School for Good and Evil. Before we start, I hope your day be filled with sunshine and smile. Enjoy the story. The School for Good and Evil was established by twin brothers Ryan and Rafal with the goal of training villains referred to as Nevers and heroes referred to as Evers from fairy tales. Rafal uses blood magic to attack Ryan because he is unhappy with evil's continual submission to good. They appear to fall off a cliff, but it is likely that Rafal perishes. Years later, in Govalden village, there are two best friends, one named Agatha and the other Sophie. They are both isolated and are always bullied by other kids who live in the village as well. The proprietor of the bookshop in the village of Govalden tells Sophie and Agatha about the fabled school. Agatha is doubtful, but Sophie, who can't get enough of fairy tales, is desperate to become a princess and escape everyday life. Sophie made an application letter to enter the school and placed it on the friendship tree between her and Agatha. She hoped to be able to get out of her current life. Agatha begs him not to leave her, but Sophie is still determined to leave the village even if it breaks their agreement. Sophie no longer hopes for fairy tales and wants to achieve her goals with her own efforts. A few nights later, when Agatha discovers and tries to stop her, Sophie makes a covert attempt to escape Govalden. A gigantic stimp snatches them both and flies them to the school, but to their dismay, Sophie is taken to the school for evil and Agatha is dropped off at the school for good. Agatha meets Professor DeVay, who organizes the Ever people. Professor DeVay tells Agatha that her best friend is in Never. Ever and Never students gather and meet with professors and school principals. Agatha objects, saying she would rather go back to Govalden, but Sophie is adamant that she belongs in good. At night, Agatha wants to find Sophie, but she sees the schoolmaster entering her magic room and she thinks that is their way out. Two best friends meet and they went to the schoolmaster's room. Two girls go in search of the magical story and pen and schoolmaster Ryan. He states that he will only consent to Sophie changing schools if she can demonstrate her Ever status by receiving the kiss of true love. Agatha and Sophie face difficulties in their individual classes and are shunned by their classmates. Agatha has already chosen a man for Sophie, but she declares Prince Tedros, the son of King Arthur, to be her true love. With Agatha's assistance, Sophie wants him to deliver a letter to Prince Tedros and say nice things about him, and she will take care of it. While students never are study, Rafal, in the meantime, appears as a wasp swarm and protects Sophie from an assault by another student. Leonora Lesso, the Never Dean, reads this as Sophie's exceptional chance to bring evil to victory, something that has been thought impossible for centuries. During class, Professor DeVay Agatha wished for a fish of hope so that they could all go back to their place, and she was surprised when her wish was granted, and she freed a girl who had failed the test at the school, causing her to be turned into an animal. Even though Agatha openly criticizes Good for being superficial, Everdeen Clarissa DeVay contends that Good is the first genuine princess in a very long time because of her empathy. While Sophie was taken by Never's guardian to the prison room for her mistake and met with Professor Lesso. Lesso tells him that he has been chosen by Rafal to represent a Never who has evil virtues in him and he must choose the right side. Lesso breaks Sophie's spirit by cutting her hair when she tries to get close to Tedros.
Rafal manifests himself in the mirror when Sophie is alone and sad about her fate. Rafal influences Sophie that she is special and she doesn't need to be good for people to like her. Influenced by Rafal's words.
Important day for students Ever and Never. They can use magic by activating the light in their fingers. Sophie changes drastically both physically and psychologically as a result of Rafal's influence. She wins the Never's approval and ascends to the unofficial role of leader of Evil's student body. Agatha, despite her differences, continues to attempt to help Sophie by utilizing magic to unite her and Tedros. Chaos between the two schools results from an Ever and a Never being together. Ryan decides to have a trial by tale to resolve the matter. At night, when Sophie and Tedros face their test, when Sophie fails to defend Tedros and herself during the trial, an infiltrating Agatha steps in to save him in her place. As a result, he rejects Sophie for prioritizing her own survival over him. Agatha gives a letter to Sophie and apologizes for what happened in the forest and tells her that she has seen Rafal. There is a powerful evil that wants to control them. Sophie takes Rafal's offer of blood magic because she believes that Agatha is her opponent. Meanwhile, Tedros meets Agatha at the ball and he expresses his feelings that he loves Agatha all this time, but their conversation is interrupted when Sophie crashes the Evers ball and renders Devay, after becoming physically transformed into a hag, Lesso, and the other school employees helpless. Tedros is provoked into attacking the school for evil by her threats against Agatha. The Evers, on the other hand, violate the law of good defense. Evil attacks by attacking, which causes the Nevers and Evers to magically switch places and spark a battle. When Sophie goes to get revenge on Ryan, he turns out to be Rafal all along. Rafal killed Ryan after surviving the fall, took on his identity, and twisted Good's narratives to favor evil. Then, declaring Sophie his true love, he suggests that they rule together. Sophie is horrified as both schools begin to collapse as they kiss. Rafal attempts to impale Agatha with the story in which he was forced to include in the story it had written as soon as she arrives. Agatha is forced aside by Sophie, who then takes the fatal blow. By doing so, she breaks Rafal's spell and Agatha's predetermined fate, saving everyone. With the aid of Tedros and a dying Sophie, Agatha uses Excalibur to kill Rafal. After that, she gives the dying Sophie a final kiss, reviving her with this act of pure love. After the Evers and Nevers make amends, the reinstated faculty members choose to combine the two schools into one. Agatha gives Tedros a kiss as the portal to Gavalden opens. Then she and Sophie cross over and resume their previous lives. But as an arrow pierces the veil separating worlds and a portal opens, Tedros begs for Agatha, and the Storian replies, "This is only the beginning."